Cool. Right, amigos, let's get to this. So listen, for me, this is a new format that I'm doing in terms of delivering. Kai, how's it going? All right, so this is a new process for me, okay, and in terms of delivery. So thank you for coming along. This is a bit of a better test, so hopefully it goes smooth. Hopefully you can see me. Hopefully you can hear me, and I look forward to delivering this. So the thing that I want to do in here today is I want to talk about auditing, kind of like where you are, how it's affecting your life, kind of giving you a 4-step plan to kind of go away and gain some control in your life. I know that there's some clients of mine in here already in my mastermind. I'm sure some way or another that you must have followed me somehow to have found your way in here through my email list or Facebook or Instagram or something like that. So first of all, thank you for showing up. Thank you for being here. It's great to have you on board. If you are with us, I hope that I can offer you some value. The whole thing will probably take anywhere between sort of 30 to 45 minutes. And I'm just going to be sort of straight to the point, as I always am. And kind of really, if you already know what I'm talking about, then like great, it would just reinforce that. If it's kind of new to you, then great. What I would ask, if there are any questions that you just save right to the end, we will have a Q&A session, okay, at the very end. And there's like a little Q&A session box that you can just ask me questions. So if you think of them, you can write them there, but I won't really come to those questions to the very, very end, all right? So the purpose of this is to raise self-awareness, to raise your conscious levels in terms of where you are right now, to stop, reflect, and think about where you are heading in terms of your life and where you are now. Something that I feel in my experience of working with many men is that this is something that we are not doing enough. We are not stopping, we are not pausing, we're not reflecting to think about where we are currently right now to be able to progress further, okay? What I find is that a lot of people right now are firefighting continuously their life and the way that they live their life. And it's like the hamster wheel, right? So it's just going round and round and round and round. Wake up, deal with the same shit, go through the same process, deal with the same problems in the same way, have the same coping mechanisms in place. And we never really move forwards because we never really stop, breathe, think, pause, and act. So the purpose of this little webinar here, this little coaching session, if you like, was really just to give you some value in terms of going in depth a little bit, kind of going in deep in terms of auditing yourself, looking at how it's affecting you, who it's affecting you, and then going away and making a plan for yourself, all right? So auditing where you are now. Now, whether you've read my book or whether you haven't read my book, you will know that I talk about a life audit. Now, the life audit is something that I feel is, if you do any audit, so if you're in business or whether you're at school, you know, people are doing audits on you all the time. And it's really to check in the standard of any operation. Now, the operation that we're talking about is our own lives, okay? Our own well-being, our own health, the way that we conduct ourselves, our relationships, our own personal growth and development. So in theory, a life audit is essentially you sort of saying, all right, this is where I am right now. This is the start point, okay? So if we were to know where we're going to want to be, we've got to understand where the biggest points are. And there are 4 pillars to this, okay? So there's health, okay? So there's health here. I'm just going to put this here. I've never used this pen before, so I don't even know if it's going to work. I'm definitely not a tech guy. So there's health. There is personal development. There is relationships, and there is business/career. Now, under health comes mental and emotional and physical well-being. okay, in conditioning in those 3 chapters, okay. Personal development comes in terms of growth of your mindset, your emotional state, and your decision making, if you like, but also self-learning, self-discovery, to be able to actually do something for yourself. Relationships come under mainly close relationships, how you handle those relationships, how much effort you put into those relationships, the communication you put into them as well. And then we're looking at career and business. So like your performance, your work-life balance, your productivity, your happiness, how much you value it. Okay, so there are 4 pillars that we look at. Now, when we do that, what I want us to be able to understand is the fact that when you look at self-auditing yourself, you have to look pretty much anywhere between sort of 6 and 12 months. Now, when I first did my life audit, I went back to doing it for the last 6 months. And I looked at the last 6 months of my life, and I looked at each category and each pillar. Now, I'm going to probably go in a little bit deeper here than I sort of talk about in my book or with even my coaching clients. I spent a day thinking about each one. And each one of those days and each one, I would write down and do a mind map. Okay, so I'd write down all of the things that would really affect me. Let me see if this pen works. If it doesn't work, then we won't use it. But let's have a look here. Okay. Great, good. I'm glad that's working really well. So what we do here, okay, is let me just see if this works here. It really doesn't want to work, does it? Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing. We'll just go on live screen so you can see me. Is I write down health, and then I write down about my mental well-being, and I think about all of the things. I go in deeper, think about all of those things that really affect my mental well-being. So my work-life balance, stress is put onto me, distractions, frustrations, and then look at my emotional reaction to the way that I parent, to the way that I deal with my clients, to the way that I deal with stress, to the way that I deal with problems. And then I look at my physical capabilities. What am I doing to improve myself? What am I doing to track my calories? What am I doing to maintain a comfortable body and the way that I look at myself? So what you do on each one of those days is spend the time, and you dedicate 30, 40 minutes a day where you will be dedicating that time to focusing on where you are. Okay, so it's enlightening, it's hard to take, it's sometimes a punch in the face, and sometimes facing the truth is sometimes the hardest thing that for you to do. So when you come to do it, you are going to face some realizations and some truths that really tell you that you're probably not in the place you want to be, right? You're probably not there. So why do we do this? I just want to give you a little bit of background on this. When I first started doing this, I didn't really know or get to grips with actually what the biggest problems with me were. And what I would do in my head is go through that hamster wheel thing. So I'd be like, oh God, what it really is problem? What is wrong with me? Why am I not performing? Why am I not fit? Why am I stressed all the time? I used to have high levels of stress. And what I would do, I would sort of keep it all in my head. And in my head, there must have been like confliction of thoughts, confliction of ideas about what was causing the stress, conflictions of then how can I get out of it? Where do I want to be? And it became a mess. It became a real mess, you know. And that's what causes us more frustration. And we become very overwhelmed, I feel, about how we move forwards, how we know where we are. So when we mind map this and we brain dump it, we take everything out of here and we display it on a piece of paper in a booklet of some form, a nice journal of some sort. And when we display it and we visually look at it, we almost give our brain some respite to breathe. And I sometimes look at it as that if you have 2 kettlebells and they're contracting consistently, eventually they're going to give up and they're going to go down because I can't hold the bicep curl for so long. I'm like, my God, it's just going to go. And that strain and that pressure and that stress is how I see our mindset when we're consistently congested with thoughts and everything that's going on in our heads. So why do we do this? We do this to display exactly what we want to achieve. Okay, where are we? Where am I right now today? Give my brain some breathing space. Write it down. Come back to it. Why aren't you doing this? Like I spoke about before, you're not doing this because you're too busy, because you're not prioritizing it, because you're not thinking about it, because it seems too much effort, because you don't know how to do it. You don't know why to do it. There's no purpose. There's no purpose or emotional connection attached to it, right? So we don't go ahead and do it because we don't really see the point of it. We don't understand it well enough. Okay. How do we do it and when? So what we do is we write down the 4 pillars. And then what we're going to do is mark ourselves out of 10. So 10 is the absolute bomb. If you are the dog's bollocks, you're a 10. I'm not even a 10. I don't think I've ever been a 10. If you're a 2 or a 3, then right now you're in trouble in that area. And what we do is we break that down and we do our first initial score. So you do the score, then I want you to sit on it for 48 hours. And I want you to think about it a little bit more. And again, you might take my first step and do 1 pillar on each day. Then you might wait the rest of the week and then do it again. But there is definitely a distinct difference when we do it first. When I do the 5-day challenge, people do it like that. They read it and then they put it straight on without thinking, without thought, without reflection. And they just put a score down. Yeah, I'm a 4. But then when you go into it and you start asking yourself, okay, how much have I focused on myself in my personal development? How many books have I read? How many podcasts do I listen to? What do I do to improve my chances of promotion? What do I do to build my business? I don't do anything. So it's a 0. Okay, how many times do you go to the gym? How many times do you work out? How many times do you track calories? And when you start asking yourself these questions and you go in deeper, the more accurate that your score will be. So the more time that you spend on this, the more accurate that the outcome will be. And the clearer the understanding you'll have of yourself and the pains that you're facing. Okay. So when do we do this? So when we're at the start of any journey, I think it's the right time to do it. So we do it on the first day of the 5-day challenge. And I do that because I like people to have an understanding about where they are. When we do the 28-day challenge, one of the first modules that we do on the first day is the self-audit, because we need to know where we're going to be. When people then transfer from the 28-day program and they come and join me on my mastermind coaching program, I then ask them to do it then. Because what we can see are 3 distinct periods of time. At the very start of the journey, usually the 5-day Fire It Up challenge. Okay, at the very start of the 28-day challenge, it's usually a couple of weeks after the 5-day. And then at the start of the mastermind, okay, which is a month after. And what's really nice to see is very similar to a before picture and an after picture. What we see is progress. We visually see the scores going up, as long as you're working well. And when we visually see that, we feel ultimately a lot better about ourselves. We see progress. And as a human being, we want to feel progress, right? If we don't feel progress, we feel frustrated in life. If we're not progressing, we're dying. Okay. And that's what's really important. So why I always say to my guys, either do it every week, which maybe is a bit too soon, or do it once a month. At the start of each month, self-audit yourself and just check in on yourself. Just do it regularly. How are you progressing? Where are the scores fluctuating? And over a quarter, a 90-day period, you can kind of look at those scores from the start of the 90 days and the end of the 90 days. And then you can look at the 2 checkpoints at the end of month 1 and month 2. And you can kind of, okay, look at the scores went up at the start and then it came down dramatically. Okay, what were the triggers? What were the patterns? What were the things that are happening in between there? And all you are doing is monitoring your company. okay, which is you. You are your company. You do this within your own business. You might work in a company that tracks this type of stuff. It's performance. And we're tracking your performance as a human being who's trying to be happier, more fulfilled, and trying to get to where they want to be the best version of themselves. So what we've kind of created there and what I've talked about is a system that tracks how you are progressing or decreasing in the way that they're performing. It's like a little chart. Okay, and at the end of it, we have some statistics to work with to understand ourselves better. This is a process that helps us understand ourselves better, to recognize when we are winning and breaking through, or whether the areas that we're not quite there yet, or something's missing. There's a habit that we need to tweak. There's a routine that we need to pay attention to. There's a structure that isn't in place that is affecting that score. And suddenly, boom, we bring it all together. All right. So that's auditing where you are right now. That's why we want to do it. That's why you aren't doing it, how we are doing it, and when to do it. So just before we go on to the next section, just in the comments, just let me know if that makes sense and you are with me so far. Just a yes will do. That's fine. Let's try this again. Great, guys. Great. Nice. Thanks for that, guys. Thank you. Okay. Now let's have a look at how it's affecting your life. Okay, let's have a look what's happening. Yeah. I'm going to try this again. I'm too scared. I'm a little bit scared to do it. Can you believe the Royal Marines figured out how to do this? Boom. There we go. I'll leave them up there for you. I keep playing my nose like I'm a bloody drug dealer. What's happening right now? How is this affecting your life? Okay, so I've put a couple of things here. I mean, I could spend all night on how it's affecting your life. So there's a couple of things that I'm seeing more and more the more I work with guys, and more guys that I'm working with and speaking to. Now, work-life balance is a real issue. Obviously, right now it's not, but like in the real world, when we're back to normal, it's a real issue. We are, hey, do you just mind turning it down a notch, please? Sorry. We are obliged. We're obliged to stay at work and focus all our efforts on work, because what we feel we have to do is we have to feel that we have to work every hour under the sun to make sure that we're providing for our families, and we're kind of destroying our life. We're getting that complete imbalance where we're staying late to get the job done, or we're feeling pressured with responsibilities of jobs that come with our salary. Things are just not really organized or structured or routined, and we're doing crazy hour. And what it's doing is affecting that work-life balance between seeing your family, seeing your children, seeing your wife, and it's emotionally draining you. It's physically draining you, and it's mentally draining you. And again, I always come back to that point where we just become that burnt-out individual, right? We become that burnt-out individual that's just on the hamster wheel going round and round and round and round. Okay, I want to draw something for you next. I want to talk about mispriorities. Okay, you're misplacing your priorities. I'm going to draw this now. I hope. Am I gonna? Good. Right, I'm going to draw you 2 priority triangles. Some of you may have seen this with me. Okay, some of you might not have. Fucking hell. Okay, here we go. All right, so here's one version. Okay, here's the other version. Now I call this the priority thing, okay? So I'm just going to abbreviate. So I've got health, PD, relationships, work, biz. Okay, here. Same again, PD, relationships, and biz. Okay. So when you are down here, okay, when you're down here with this guy right here, so this guy is where the majority of guys are right now. This one right here, okay? This guy is not prioritizing himself. So he is carrying the weight of his business and he's putting it first. So he's holding up all the responsibility. Okay, he's trying to do it all. He's trying to pay all the bills. He feels like he's the breadwinner. He's under pressure. Okay. I would probably say that here, personal development is out the window. I would probably say that relationships are strained because of lack of communication, because of work and priorities at work. You come home in a bad mood, you end up taking that bad mood out on everyone, you become glum, dominated. And the thing that suffers the most is the thing that you put last is your health. So you eat poor choices of food, fast food, Chinese, Indians, quick, convenient foods. You don't track your calories. You have no idea what's going in or out of your body. Because you're so focused down here on the business and the work and the earning for people, usually we say, oh, do you know what? I don't have time to do this. And because you are here, you are the least best version of yourself. Okay. This guy here is the least best version of yourself because the weight of your world, this triangle, is bearing down on your shoulders. Then we go and look up at here. Okay. Johnny, he is living the absolute dream. Okay. He's a Royal Marine. Now he is prioritizing himself. He is his number one priority. He comes before his family. He comes before his children. And let me explain why. When you are up here at the top, number one, everything down here, oh, fucking I balls that up again, and that becomes the best version of yourself. Okay. Everything becomes the best version of yourself. So as you can see, I put there, because you focus on your health, because you put your mental, emotional, and physical conditioning before anyone and anything, you are then the best dad to your kids because you're making time for them and you're consciously aware. If we go back to what we were talking about in terms of the life audit, we then can make more time for the work-life balance because we're fitter, because we're mentally sharper, emotionally conditioned. We can give more time to our kids. We've got more energy to play with them in the garden or wrestling on the bed, take them out for walks and bike rides after a long day's work. You come back, you actually want to communicate with your partner because you're fit enough to do that. You're not stressed, you're not overwhelmed. Okay, so that makes sense, right? You then, everything that I tend to find with my guys in my mastermind in my 28 days is that because they're fit and healthy and well for themselves and the family, work goes through the roof. Effective working practices go up. Personal management goes up. Time management goes up. Everything goes up. When you put yourself first, when you learn to do that, When you learn to do that, everything underneath you gets the best of you. When you're down here and you're that guy carrying the world, you're just getting shat on every single day. And you just don't have the time to be wasting life down there, okay? You just don't have it, guys. Okay. If you're with me so far, just type yes. If there's any points, do you find that quite relevant? Do you find that's quite true of you? Believe it or not, I really have practiced this drawing all day. I have, honestly, but it just isn't working. Good. I'm really glad this is making sense, guys. Brilliant, 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 brilliant. You know, this is the first time I've been nervous about doing something since I've been a long time. Good man, Tim. Good to hear, Celeste. All right. Okay. Look. So, so I just want to very quickly do. Right, there's two methods here. I just want to draw on this. I talked about this very good. It's good to see Marie not eating the crayons. Too true. Stick to clubs. Yeah, I knew I'd get loads of shit for it. Okay, so progress. So one of the things that I feel that we really need to do, right, is have that feeling of progress. So when we feel that we progress, we kind of go to here and we kind of get satisfaction, right? Satisfaction. And when we get that satisfaction, that then tends to lead to more purposeful action. Okay, so more an action. Okay, that leads us on to a more. Did you just walk in my background in your boxer shorts? I am. That more fulfillment. I'm just going to abbreviate this. And happiness. Okay, and that is a nice way to move forwards. Okay, so we get progress, we get satisfaction, we find purpose in action. That leads to fulfillment and happiness. When we don't, the emotion that we feel is frustration. Okay, we feel frustration, then we overthink. Okay, and then we become a misery. Let's put that there. Okay, so there's two different tracks that we feel here. So progress, and the key here is to progress 1%. Now, what I don't want you to do is get into the habit of thinking, I've got to do big things. This is what a lot of people do, okay? They think, I've got to achieve big progress. Okay, right away. Bullshit. Okay, that there is one of the biggest problems and barriers that men and people have. Right there, okay? Because they feel they have to have big progress, big achievements, big goals. I need to do this right now. It needs to be happening tomorrow. And it doesn't. It really doesn't. This is a process. You have to learn to love the process, guys. You've got to. Okay? Progress. That a day. 1% could be nailing down one part of your morning routine. 1% on the next day could be nailing down another part of your morning routine. And then what we end up having, okay, and this is really important, okay, is here. So we go small win, small win, small win, small win, small win, small win, big win, small win. And we can keep going like this. And every now and then, okay, we're going to have a big win. But every now and then, we're going to have a loss. And it's not going to go away. We might have another loss. But again, it comes back to the bouncing. But we keep striving to get those big big wins. Okay, so these are all small wins. Small wins, big wins. And over a long period of time, this is what the process does for you. Okay, it teaches you. Okay, this is the process. Okay, right here. This is our process. This is what we want to be learning. And we're learning about ourselves. All those little dots, you're learning about what works for you, what doesn't work for you, what triggers you, what brings the self-audit score that I was talking about at the very start down or up. So what we're doing is we're looking at this process that you can see in the board here. Okay, and every month we're self-auditing. Boom, and then we learn. Okay, I just want to bring that up there because I think that's really important for you guys. All right, and then we're kind of learning for ourselves. I just want to go over some key factors before we go into a 4-step plan. So unhappiness pretty much kind of comes from a lack of direction. When we don't have a path, that brings us frustration. Okay, that brings us unhappiness. Okay, and there's a couple of questions that I want you to write down. I'm going to write down here for you. Okay, and they're questions that I think that you need to know. All right, so okay, question 1. Do you know who you are? I have lost count of the number of guys that don't know who they are at this stage in their life. They knew who they were growing up. They knew who they were in terms of being a 20-year-old, going out with the lads, getting down the gym, going to play footy. They probably knew who they were when they met their wife and had kids and started being a dad. But do you know who you are now? Do you know what you like? Do you know what you want to be? It kind of leads on to the next question. Do you know what you want? What does that best version of yourself look like when you're at the very top of that pyramid that I drew? Do you know what you want? Do you? What does happiness look like? What does fulfillment look like? What does a meaningful life look like for you? What does happiness in terms of your own body shape and mental well-being look like for you? And then one of the last questions I wanted is, what do you need to let go of? Okay, 3 really important questions there in terms of you moving forwards. All right, and we're going to look at the next step, which is kind of like the 4-step plan that I've kind of been thinking about. And they are 3 questions, I think, before you move forwards to the next step, that you need to answer those questions. Do you know who you are? Do you know what you want in life? And what do you need to let go of in order to move forwards? All right. So just on reflection, we've talked about self-auditing. We talked about how it's affecting your life. We talked about prioritization, progression, and those key points before we move in. Just before we move on, is everyone with me? Everyone, is this making sense? I hope you're getting some value from this. It's literally my bedtime. Good. I'm really pleased. Good. Great, guys. Great. Good. I'm really pleased. Questions to ask ourselves. 100% yeah. Great. All right. So let's have a look here. I just need to go to the next page. I'm not. Let you keep saying that, Simon. I'm not. Doing my job, which I love. Good. Yeah, there we are. Okay, 4-step plan. Right, my guys, let's do this. Step 1. 4-step plan. Now I was thinking about like, how do I get this across to you? How do I get to right to the very start of the journey? Like, as I can turn around and say to you, right, we need a morning routine, we need this, we need that. But this is what I feel that would be a great place to start. Okay. Number one, can you guess? We've already talked about it. A 4-step plan to moving forwards. Whenever you need to solve a problem in your own life, in your career, in a relationship, any problem that you come across, you have to be clear on what the problem is. So the first step of your plan to improve yourself has to be knowing what the problem is. And that means taking some time out to be able to do that, right? So I would say anywhere between 1 and 7 days to be crystal clear, to have it written down in an exercise book, some form of journal, so you can visually see and understand who you are. All right, so the next thing that I want us to do is have an end of year plan. End of year plan. All right. So that's going to be for health, PD, relationships, and what am I missing? Business. So for each one of these, you're going to have one goal. Okay. What we don't want to do is completely overwhelm ourselves with a to-do list of 20 to 30 things. Remember what I talked about. Where do you want to be? So we've looked at those. So when we did those questions, okay, do you know who you are? Okay, then we attack question 1 with number 1 of the plan. Well, do you know who you are? Let's do a self-audit and let's figure out who we are. Let's figure out where my flaws are. Let's figure out where my problems lay. Let's figure out what I need to improve on most. Let's look at the things that are making me unhappy. Let's look at the things that are making me frustrated and hate myself and overthink myself. Do you know what you want? Okay, well, let's do an end of year plan. What do I want? Where would I love to be in health, in my relationships, in my personal development, in my business? One goal in each, achievable. Remember I talked about that big like progress? No. What is achievable? Imagine if those 4 key areas, whatever you set yourself there, imagine if you achieved them and how your life would be different. So if your health was to lose 4 stone, you had 4 stone to lose, much better would your life look? How much happier would you be? How much more fulfilled would you feel? All right. Okay, next one. Let's have a figure out here now. All right. 3. All right. Set your rules. Now, setting your rules for me is a whole separate webinar training session. It's something I've done with my mastermind guys in great detail. I did a 20-minute video on this. Rules in our society keep order. Okay, we have to follow those rules to maintain order. Now, if you ever are going to move forwards with your life, you have to have barriers and order. So let me give you a couple of examples of rules that I have, so you can kind of get the gist of where you want to be. One of my rules is to never press snooze. Get up straight away, right away. Another one of my rules is never to scroll through social media until my first check-in with everyone at 9 o'clock in the morning. And the reason I don't do that, the reason that I don't press snooze and lay in is because that's an instant loss When I get up right away, that's the first win. The minute I open my eyes and roll out of bed, that's my first win. That sets the tone of the day. Then that sets the tone of the week, of the month, of the year. You set the tone. I then don't look at social media or browse through social media till 9, because if there's anything negative going on in there and that gets into my mindset, that's me fucked. I'm just going to be thinking about that rather than myself. Okay. Is always to do a workout Monday to Friday is another rule. Always to do some form of exercise Monday through to Friday. So it kind of, I'm living my life to order. Okay. So another one I try and do is finish work at 5:30, unless I'm doing an exception like this webinar, like the 5-day challenge, like an evening presentation of some sort. 5:30 is my cutoff. Now, I don't always get that, but I do my very best to aim for that. Now, you have to find rules in your life that address your biggest weaknesses. So if you're coming home and you're scrolling on your phone or you're on your laptop while your wife or your kids are around, you could come back and one of your rules could be, right, I'm going to put my phone on airplane mode from the minute I walk through the door to the minute I go to bed. So you're not looking at your phone, or to when the kids are in bed, okay? And I think that is something that is super important for you to be able to do. Set the rules that dictate your biggest areas. Okay, that's why we have rules in this society, right? They start bringing up rules, laws to stop us, killing each other. So have a look at that for you, all right? Rules are important. Start off with just 2 or 3 rules that really help you become disciplined. Reward yourself for meeting those rules at the end of each week, or punish yourself with burpees if you don't meet them. Have a little reward system for yourself. Okay. Number 4 is set your checkpoints. So one of the things I just did with the mastermind on Saturday, we spent 1 hour and 40 minutes talking about 90-day plans. So in a year, we get 90 days, okay? Roughly, okay, four quarters, okay? So in those 4 quarters, they are checkpoints. They are checkpoints to us achieving this, okay? We can have little checkpoints along the way. So let's say we want to lose 4 stone, okay? Just for argument's sake. Each quarter, we need to make sure that we've lost a stone. Okay, the checkpoint is our way of making sure whether we're on track or not. That should then liaise with our self-audit. Boom, up there, okay? So it all should be in an alignment with each other. It should all be parallel with each other. So things that you then need to make sure that you're doing is kind of going, okay, well, my first 90-day checkpoint, this is what I need to achieve. I need to achieve, okay, 1 stone in 3 months. So I need to lose so many pounds in a week. To do that, I need to make sure I turn up to 4 workouts a week. I need to track my calories every single day. I need to make sure I do a mobility session at least 2 or 3 times a week so I don't get injured. Then that kind of slips in nicely with your rules. So one of your rules is to make sure you don't go to bed without having done on your daily calories. Is to make one of your rules might be to work out 4 times a week. So can you see how it all aligns with each other? Okay, you're setting your rules, fitting with your checkpoints, then fitting with your year plan, and your self-audit should be in alignment with the progression of whatever it is that you're aiming for. Okay, and that's kind of like how I'm seeing that 4-step plan. Guys, does that all make sense so far? Okay, so just seeing there. So what I want to do here. So when we do, so this is, I mean, if we were going in deeper, I would talk about the 90 days, but because we don't have the time, so I just want to quickly give that brief there. So 90 days. So 90 days, 4 stone. So what we would do and how we would break down the 90 days for more checkpoints. And this is another great way to keep yourself accountable. All right, there are 4 stages, 4 checkpoints that we would do. Once you've set that goal, the first thing you do is, what are you going to do in the first 24 hours to assure that you achieve that goal? Then what you're going to achieve or have done in the 7 days. Then what you're going to have done and achieved in 1 month, 2 months, and then 90-day outcome. Okay. So that's kind of like a little timeline. So the minute that you set a goal, within 24 hours, you have to have taken action. That gets the ball rolling immediately. After 7 days, okay, so something that we might do here is, in that first 20 hours, is find, professional help. Get a grip. Help. Okay, in 7 days, you're going to have a routine in place. Here, going to be counting calories and 4 workouts a week. Okay, in 2 months, we'll be doing 4 times a week and including mobility. So by the time we've hit 90 days, we hopefully will have hit, okay, our 4 stone. What you can also do in the first 24 hours is figure out how many pounds you need to lose in that week. All right, so you can do that for your own business, for relationships. And relationships could be in terms of, okay, how do I create more meaningful relationships? How do I become closer to my kids? How do I get more time with my children? How do I ensure that my staff are working for me? How do I ensure that my peers are well looked after? So, you know, it's a really open book. You can really go into depth about this and look at the quality of the relationships that you do have, your own personal development, okay? Books that you want to read. So you might want to make sure that you read 3 books in a 90-day period. You might want to focus on videos on YouTube and learn more about leadership or communication. Whatever floats your boat. I hope that makes sense. Okay. So we're going to our final part here. Whoopsie. Get a grip. Come on, Royal. Okay, accountability. So there's a couple of ways that we can do this. The self-audit is 100% one we've talked about already. Checking in on yourself. Being clear exactly what is required from yourself. When we're honest with yourself, being honest with yourself and checking in with yourself is a sure way of being accountable and taking ownership. Daily journal. So you can keep, so we have this is what we offer the guys in the mastermind. All right, this is our elite focus 90-day planner and journal. And that allows us to dictate all of the stuff that we've been talking about and hold ourselves accountable for ourselves. When we're meeting halfway, we're keeping a track of everything we're doing, the wins, the losses, the mindsets, the gratitude. And it's because we're doing that, we're raising our self-conscious and self-awareness about everything that's happening, right? We're becoming clearer on how we're running our lives, how we're managing our lives, how we're living our lives. So other things that you can do here, you can find a partner. So someone at work to hold accountable to, a mate, a wife, your boy or your girl if they're old enough. Okay, so having a partner. One of the things that people do when they're working with me is a coach. So my job, my role is to get the very best out of my guys on my 28-day program, is to make sure that they're doing what they said they were going to do, is to question them why, is to call them out when they don't post, is to be there as a support and a guidance. Okay, that's my job as a coach, if you like. All right. So there are many ways that you can hold yourself accountable. So what we are going to do, guys, is I'm going to open up this up for 5 minutes, okay, for Q&A. So there should be a little Q&A button somewhere. And if you want to, feel free to ask me anything on that, what we've spoken about tonight. I just want to write this down. Right, this is my email. If you would like to come and jump on our 28-day program, feel free to, okay? We're starting on Monday, and it's for guys that are ready to sort of knuckle down on this type of thing. That's all I'm going to do. If you are ready, you're ready. If you're not, you're not. This isn't some fucking Chad sales pitch. That's the email. I will send you a discount code, which will be valid for 24 hours. If you're not already on it, if you're not already one of my clients, then come and experience it on the other side, okay? What are common things that guys need to let go of? Good question. All right. So one of the common things that guys need to let go of, I honestly believe, is overthinking. Overthinking what they've got to do. Overthinking how good they've got to be. Overthinking the process. Excuse me. Overthinking / assuming assumption. It's the mother of all fuck ups. People do it all of the time. All of the time. And it creates anxiety. It creates self-pressure. It creates stress. And it creates an environment in your brain that questions you. When you become comfortable in your own skin, you can live the life that you want to live. And that's something I learned like drastically, quickly. Vendors, 20th of April. Any more questions? Has this made sense? Has this helped you? I hope so. Oh, wow. Questions coming in thick and fast. Do you have to be on Facebook to do the challenge? Unfortunately, yes, currently. We do. So our mastermind is not on social media. We're on an app that we just turned to. And our aim is that by the end of the year is not to be on social media for our coaching platforms. We're going to be testing it very soon. But what a lot of guys is just set up a profile, a Facebook profile page just for the challenge. You don't have to have your picture or anything in there. But yeah. Ideas for sections in the Plain Exercise book as a journal. What headings could you use if we've not really journaled before? Realistic goal setting. So I would probably say that 3 things you're grateful for. Grateful for. 3 things that your top 3 priorities for the day to give you clarity. Okay, clarity is really important, right? Things that we're grateful for to keep us grounded. I would probably say that a good one would be your biggest win of the day and your biggest learning experience of the day. I would probably put your overall goal for the day of what you wanted to achieve. I mean, I'm just putting these out random. You don't have to have them all. You could put 3 things you're grateful for in the evening, which is what I used to use on one in my journal. Let me just read you what's on my one. Okay, biggest win, biggest distraction, happiest moment of the day. Yeah, those type of things. What are you doing in your golden hour? How was your golden hour run? The type of questions that are like more purposeful to you as an individual, right? Let's have a look here. James, in reference to calories, do you have to hit the target daily? If not, do you make it up on the next day? So Simon, look at calories as in a 7-day expedition. So if you, let me just do this from the board. This will be a lot easier. Just bear with me. Okay, so let's say I'm just going to do this calories thing here. All right. So, oh, what the fucking hell is that? Right, it's not working. Calories. If you had 2,000 calories a day over a week, that's 14,000 calories that you have to consume in a week. So I want you to look at this as a week. Now, when I am in tracking mode, I track from Friday through to Friday. Because Friday, Saturday, and Sunday are the days that I consume most calories because of my routine. I recognize that I'm off from work. So I'm more likely to go out with the family, more likely to eat out, more likely to have a takeaway, have a few beers. Maybe there's a wedding, a barbecue, or something going on. Then what I do is I allocate more calories. So over a 14,000 calorie week, okay, what I end up doing is going, okay, well, I've got 14,000 calories to play with. I'm going to give myself 3,000 on Saturday and Sunday and 2,500 on Friday. That gives me 8,500 to enjoy the weekend. That then leaves me 5,500 to split between Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Days when I'm just in my normal work routine where I can manage my calories much better, where there are not so many distractions. Simon, does that make sense? I've been trying to find my purpose and what I want to achieve. How do you personally address this? I think this finding your purpose is not something that's done immediately. It took me a while to realize that my purpose was just me to be the best version that I can. And as sort of cliche and simple as that is, I know that when I hit that everything else kind of works out the way I want it to work out. And so whenever I think about the way that I live my life in terms of the actions that I take, I turn around and go, is this what I'm doing harming me or is it benefiting me? And then I tend to align that question with my purpose. Your purpose sometimes takes time. And I think once you are in a process, I think you are more likely to find a process if you are following a process. So what we find many of the guys is when I talk to them at the end of a 28-day program, they've learned a lot more about themselves and about why they are actually trying to achieve what they're achieving. Many of the guys who have been in my mastermind for the last 2 years have found that their purpose has shifted slightly simply by being in the process and understanding themselves better and what they want from life, because your purpose will evolve as you evolve. I hope that makes sense. I've started meditation. Do you think this would help within your plan? 110%. We recommend meditation all the time. I personally use a Calm app. It's something I really recommend my guys doing in the morning routine to clear their head and mind. What do you use to track your audits and progress you have made? So that is in my planner here. So let me just show you. I realized the camera will probably be on the wrong way around. So like you can see here, we kind of just got a little tracker there where you can just put your scores and you can do it at the end of each week. Like I say, some guys do it at the end of each month. I'm just seeing how it goes, doing it weekly and seeing if I get benefit from it. So I'm just testing that at the minute. When you mention rules, are you specifically meaning set disciplines which become more part of daily life, something you end up doing without having to think about it? Yes, I am 110%. That's exactly what the purpose of them are. When you follow those rules, if you think about the way we follow rules in society, we follow those rules and it just becomes automatic not to go through a red light, okay, not to speed, or we certainly become more conscious about it, or, you know, getting into fights and we think about the consequences of our actions. Rules are there really to make you think about the consequences of your actions so that you can become more disciplined in what you're trying to achieve. And that's why I feel it's much better to do just one or two rules, embed them into your brain and your neurological system, to then just allow that for you to flow and actually grow as a human being. The MyFitness app that I'm using to count calories adds extra on. If I train hard, should I ignore these calories and stick with the start number of 80? So yes, ignore MyFitnessPals, the ones they're telling you to put on. What you should do is that you should, knobber. Is that you should go to Google and you should type in TDEE calculator. Now, TDEE stands for Total Daily Energy Expenditure. And this is a formula that will help you work out what your daily maintenance calories are going to be. And it will take that based on the statistics that you will implement, which are yours, your height, your weight, all of that stuff that goes on there. And it will also take into consideration how often you work out. So you might be pretty sedentary, maybe 1 to 2, maybe light active, which is like 2 to 3. And then medium activity is like 3 to 5. And then extreme is like 5 to 8 or something like that. But that takes into consideration how many workouts you are doing. All right. Don't try and work it out with your watch or something else. Just literally go with what the calorie count is telling you. If you want to lose body fat or your gut, you take your maintenance calorie that the TDEE gives you and you minus 15%. 15%, okay? Of those calories. So you work out what your maintenance calories is times 7, then take off 15%. And then and divide that by 7, and that's your daily allowance. Do that for a month and then have a look and figure out exactly if that's working for you. You can do that by pictures, by measurements, by the clothes that you're wearing, by how you feel. And if you feel that you're hungry, then we need to make sure that we maybe reduce that to 10%. You just got to kind of listen to the body and test and adjust. This stuff takes time. It takes consistency. Can you recommend a calorie tracking app? MyFitnessPal, 110%. Hey, I achieve lots, including a brilliant morning routine, great family life in the whole, and a loving wife. I self-develop all the time, but the problem is I just don't know what I want. Any tips to help narrow this down? I appreciate I need to work out what I want, but always to help find it or focus on it. So I think this just takes a little bit of personal discovery in the things that make you passionate, the things that give you meaning, the things that make you get fired up in the morning. It's something I struggled with for years, trying to figure out, what I wanted. Do you know what I mean? And I realized that I wanted quality time, or the freedom to have quality time. That's why I transitioned from running a very successful fitness company locally that was tying me down for my time. I was tied to its shackles of having to be out and doing classes and managing my staff and all of that. And I took a massive, massive, massive pay cut to then start working online and work very hard for 2 years to live the life that I want to live on my terms, live life on my terms. But again, that was done through following a process. And following that process allows you to learn more about yourself and discover more about yourself. Should you strive for... Okay, we're going to do 5 more minutes, guys. Should you strive for goals that aren't necessarily within your control? For me, repairing my relationship and seeing my children more. So that is a great goal, but if the relationship is unrepairable or the other person doesn't want to repair them, then yes, I can understand that would be really wasting your time. But in terms of seeing your children, I would, that's never a wasted goal. I would try and focus on things that you can control on more, because you're more likely to be able to get the result that you want. Whereas if we start basing goals on things that are not in our control, there's no guarantee that we're going to achieve them, right? I mean, when it comes to goals, it's a whole new webinar that I might do on it. But I talk to my guys about 10x and what they're capable of. So instead of, there was a guy once who wanted to run 10 miles by October, and I said, fuck that. I made him sign up for a marathon. Do you know what? If he doesn't get the marathon or he doesn't do it, he's going to have achieved probably 15 to 18 miles versus maybe the 7 to 8 he would have got training for the 10 miles. He's pushed himself. And because he's pushed himself in that field, he's pushed himself in other fields, in his career, relationships. How you do anything is how you do everything. Your golden hour is when you get up in the morning for an hour earlier and you do all of your schedule and your routine, okay? That's when you kind of do your mindset, your meditation, do clarity work, your exercise, your mobility. It's that time to yourself that we very rarely get. How does your wife life fit into your personal routine? Looks like you get up early and go to bed early. Yep, so I get up early. To be honest, my partner doesn't really wake up too many times now. In the early days, she used to. We both go to bed at the same time as well. So as soon as we finish this, we will end up going to bed at 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock is when I go to, in fact, we probably go to bed at 7:45 normally. Recommended home workout kit, kettlebells, medicine balls, weights, etc. Everything you've just said on there is exactly what I'd go for. Okay, Jason, especially if you're on the 28 day and joining us in the mastermind, all of our home workouts. So on our app, we put out a brand new 4-week program every single month. So kettlebells, medicine ball, like a slam ball, weighted bags and dumbbells. Let's have a look here. Guys, drop off. This was great. Anytime, you're welcome. You're welcome, guys. Walking is a massive help to weight loss. Calories is the way forward. If you want to get rid of your gut, get on that calories. Thanks for this evening. You're welcome. Anytime. You're welcome. I'm going to save my questions for the 28-day program. No problem. See you on there. Anytime, Tim. You're more than welcome. Right, guys, I'm going to bed. Have a great evening. Catch you soon. Take care. See you soon.